Real or not real, Peeta was protecting Katniss even when his brain was telling him to kill her. I'm going through every real or not real that's in the Mockingjay book, and it's major, you guys. So after Peeta's hijack, we know a big part of his recovery is, of course, asking real or not real. His memory has been severely damaged. He's a mixture of real memories, distorted memories, and completely fake memories. The hijacking he went through is basically just a type of brainwashing. He would be prompted to recall memories or maybe watch memories of things that happened, and then they would inject him with this venom that makes everything super scary, and he's fear conditioned into thinking it's all real. It's rough. The specific times in the books where he's trying to figure out what is true or not are all significant, so let's dive in. To make things easier, I'm going to call real or not real RNR. So right before the RNR method is created, Peeta is in the rebel camp outside of the Capitol with Squad 451. Unprompted, Peeta just asks to Katniss, "Your favorite color? It's green?" Which is true. He remembers her favorite color, and he doesn't remember his own. When they first told each other their favorite colors, it was beginning of Catching Fire, right after Peeta and Katniss decided to take a shot at just being friends. Peeta extended this olive branch to break this tension between them. He said, "Isn't it strange that I know you'd risk your life to save mine, but I don't know what your favorite color is?" Him bringing up that he knows she would risk her life for him before the color question, it ties these two facts about Katniss together in his head. Next morning in Mockingjay is when real or not real is formally happening. A member of the squad, Jackson, devised this game based on Finnick's suggestion. Peeta said, "Most of the people from 12 were killed in the fire." And someone responds, "Real. Less than 900 of you made it to 13 alive." I see this question as Peeta confirming whether or not his family was really gone and why, but still he isn't sure on why the fire happened. And he says, "The fire was my fault." And a squad member responds, "Not real. President Snow destroyed 12 the way he did 13 to send a message to the rebels." Peeta at first was made to believe that it was all Katniss's fault. When he's in the hospital in 13, his old childhood friend Deli comes in and he says to Deli, "12 burned down, didn't it? Because of her. Because of Katniss." And then he goes crazy. So he's made some progress. He and Katniss were major catalysts for the rebellion. So Peeta blaming himself for it, it does seem like something normal Peeta would do. So real or not real continues with the squad. It's not a steady conversation. Peeta spends a long time considering even small pieces of information, like where people bought their soap back home. He's so lost! But most of Peeta's questions revolve around Katniss, since she was the main target of his hijacking. Peeta's greatest confusion centers around me, and not everything can be explained simply. Our exchanges are painful and loaded, even though we touch on only the most superficial of details. The color of my dress in 7, my preference for cheese buns, the name of our math teacher when we were little. Reconstructing his memory of me is excruciating. These seem like small details, but when you dive in, they're not so superficial. The color of Katniss's dress that she wore in District 7 on the Victory Tour, it's not even described in the book, or even specifically what happened during their visit. It's lumped into this part of the tour written as a montage, where they're following this routine, trying to be obedient and convince the world of their love. At dinners, we are borderline delirious in our love for each other. We kiss, we dance, we get caught trying to sneak away to be alone. So that sort of thing was happening when they were in District 7 when she was wearing this dress that Peeta remembers. I wonder why he would remember that dress. Maybe when he's having all these good memories with Katniss and he gets to make out with her and be cute and be her boyfriend. Maybe that's why he remembers it. For Peeta, it's almost like he's living out this fantasy of being with Katniss and being her boyfriend. And they were both sleeping together in the same bed every night on this part of the Victory Tour too. Second superficial detail is Katniss's preference for cheese buns. This calls back to Catching Fire before the Quell, when Peeta and Katniss are spending a week together. It's a really sweet time between them. Peeta comes by every day to bring me cheese buns and begins to help me work on the family book. So he's bringing her cheese buns every day when they're hanging out all day and having this really nice quality time together. And then the third question was about the name of their math teacher. So this isn't tied to a memory between them that we see in the books, besides the fact that Katniss and Peeta were in school together and Peeta had a humongous crush on her that whole time. Maybe he sat by her in math class or something. These three superficial details are actually all benchmarks in their relationship. Peeta's childhood crush on her, being affectionate with each other, together and when they spent some normal quality time together. So these are significant moments. Jumping to the next real or not real moment is when Peeta goes into a detailed rant about the torment that he watched two Avoxes go through, Darius and Lavinia, and they were both Katniss and Peeta's personal servants when they stayed in the training center. As part of Peeta's own torment, he was forced to watch the both of them be brutalized until they passed away, and Peeta remembers it and he just spits it all out there, and the squad is stunned. Boggs tells him real, at least to the best of his knowledge, and Peeta responds, I thought so. There was nothing shiny about it. This marks him now starting to be able to distinguish between real and tampered memories, because the Tracker Jacker memories are shiny. He saw the Avoxes go through this, and they're both tied to Katniss, specifically Lavinia. Katniss recognized her on their first time in the training center, way back when Katniss and Gale saw that girl be captured in the woods just anonymously, and then she shows up as her Avox, and Peeta covered for her when Katniss recognized her, saying, oh yeah, she looks just like Deli Cartwright, which she doesn't at all, but knowing an Avox is not okay. They're viewed as criminals and like not people to the Capitolites. And then Darius was a peacekeeper in 12 who was made into an Avox when he tried to stop Gale's whipping punishment. The next R&R is shortly after this. Peeta is telling Katniss about how he's starting to be able to sort out his memories based on this shininess. They're in the sewers, and then she says, well, that's good, isn't it? If you can separate the two, then you can figure out what's true. And Peeta says, yes, and if I could grow wings, I could fly. Only people can't grow wings. Real or not real? Katniss answers, real, but people don't need wings to survive. And Peeta says, mockingjays do. I love this line! And it's so very Peeta. He's making a sarcastic joke. He's being witty. Katniss is the Mockingjay. She's become the symbolic guardian angel of the rebels, of the people of Panem. Katniss and Peeta have a moment after this interaction. She tells Peeta to lie down and sleep. Slowly as I would with a wounded animal, my hand stretches out and brushes a wave of hair from his forehead. He freezes at my touch, but doesn't recoil. So I continue to gently smooth back his hair. It's the first time I have voluntarily touched him since the last arena. And the word voluntarily is important here because the last time they touched is when Peeta tried to choke her. Anyway, Katniss is touching Peeta's head and he whispers, you're still trying to protect me. Real or not real? Katniss says, real, because that's what you and I do, protect each other. And then Peeta falls asleep, screaming, crying, throwing up, shut up. And then a few hours after this is when the lizard mutts attack. Peeta's hijacking made him somehow like psychically connected to these mutts. You know, he's whispering Katniss along with them. It's not really explained how this all works, but it's some sort of capital technology. He jolts awake and protects Katniss. He says, Katniss, Katniss, get out of here. And she says, why? What's making that sound? And he says, I don't know, only that it has to kill you. Run, get out, go. Katniss was about to launch an arrow into Peeta's brain. She noticed him whispering in his sleep and she's like, wow, I guess I really have no choice now. It'll be painless at least. But Peeta is able to fight back against hijacking and tries to protect Katniss, warning her. And this moment with Peeta reminds me of how he warned her to run away from Cato after she dropped the Tracker Jacker nest in the 74th games. He said, what are you still doing here? Are you mad? Get up, run. And he's shoving her away, saving her from Cato. He stays back to fight him off. And Peeta's asking her if she's mad because she's all loopy from Tracker Jacker Venom herself. Damn. The next real or not real moment is when they're hiding out at Tigress's in the Capitol, and Katniss is doing some first aid on Peeta since his wrist got all banged up, and she says, you've got to keep them clean, otherwise the infection could spread, and Peeta cuts her off. I know what blood poisoning is, Katniss, even if my mother isn't a healer. And Katniss is jolted back in time to another wound, another set of bandages. You said that same thing to me in the first Hunger Games. Real or not real? Real, he says, and you risked your life getting the medicine that saved me? Real. You were the reason I was alive to do it. Reinforcing again that the core of Peeta and Katniss's relationship is that they take care of each other and they protect each other. The next real or not real is actually a thought that Katniss has right after she saw Prim and the second explosion went off. Real or not real? I am on fire. And yeah, she was very much on fire. She and Peeta were introduced to the world together when they're in their fiery costumes. They have these capes with fire, fulfilling a prophecy almost. And now for the next and final real or not real. This is the one I think most people remember. The last words before the epilogue begins. I'm just gonna read this whole paragraph recap because it's beautiful. Peeta and I grow back together. There are still moments when he clutches the back of a chair and hangs on until the flashbacks are over. I wake screaming from nightmares of mutts and lost children, but his arms are there to comfort me, and eventually his lips. On the night I feel that thing again, the hunger that overtook me on the beach, I know this would have happened anyway. That what I need to survive is not Gale's fire, kindled with rage and hatred. I have plenty of fire myself. What I need is the dandelion in the spring, the bright yellow that means rebirth instead of destruction, the promise that life can go on no matter how bad our losses, that it can be good again, and only Peeta can give me that. So after, when he whispers, "You love me, real or not real," I tell him, real. Perfection. The thing they did before Peeta whispers this is presumably making love for the first time together. Katniss has a hard time vocalizing her feelings, and Peeta is able to understand her so well that he asks her in this way. She's not putting on a show for the cameras. She's not trying to protect him. She's just genuinely being with him because she loves him. Those are all the real or not real moments. I know someone's going to ask this, so I'll just say it. Yes, I do believe Peeta is able to recover from his hijacking. I do not believe he is still brainwashed at all by the end of the book. I feel like it's made very clear. Peeta clutching a chair, having flashbacks is very different than there are still times when Peeta tries to kill me. Like, that's not happening. He's not brainwashed anymore. Peeta is still the real Peeta at his core, but he is changed, and Katniss is changed, and all these characters are changed by what they go through. What do you think about all this? What is your favorite real or not real moment? I want to know. Let's talk about it in the comments.